Experience work interactions in a different and refreshing light. This is the Leader in You podcast, brought to you by EmC Leaders, taking care of the teams you care about. We bring the science of attachment and emotional connection with insight from the last 20 years to share how you can overcome conflict issues at work and build strong team relationships, as well as the connected culture.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the Leader in You podcast brought to you by EmC Leaders. My name is Polina, and I'm so excited to be here and co-hosting this podcast with the wonderful and amazing Dr. Lola Gershfeld.
Hi, Polina. It's so nice to be here with you. We are coming to Thanksgiving, and I just want to say to everybody, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We're so happy for you to be here, wishing you health, happiness, and always connection.
Yes, this is true. We are 2 days away from Thanksgiving, which is this Thursday. And we thought that the topic that we're going to talk about today is so fitting for this week. Gratitude is such a huge part of how we live, how we connect with each other, and how we show up in this world. But sometimes that feeling of gratitude is often missed, and it's difficult to reach when we get into a fight or a conflict or a dilemma with people that we work with. And since we spend most of our time at work, we wanted to share with you an experience that occurred with a team that we were working with this past week. And with their permission, of course, we are sharing this dilemma that they had and how it really affected them the entire rest of the week. And then how we were able to use the process to bring them back into balance so they can be connected again and really enjoy this holidays. This is something that is so important to remember. If you're struggling to enjoy your holidays, and if you're struggling to enjoy your weekends, if you're struggling to enjoy your relationships outside of work, there's a reason why. And it's most likely, and we would say 99.9%, because there's some sort of disconnection. And we use the word disconnection in place of fight, conflict, dilemma amongst your relationship. There's some sort of disconnection with the relationship and the people that are closest to you at work. And since we spend most of our time at work, we have to tune in to those difficult situations and those conversations in order to bring us back to balance, get us back connected, and so we can actually enjoy the holidays and the weekends, the time we're supposed to enjoy in our life and with our family and friends. So let's get to the situation. So Dr. Lowe is going to explain more of understanding how the importance of the process and understanding our emotions is so valuable and becoming aware. But first, let me tell you the story. So a few days ago, we got a call from a company that we work with, a team, and they had a bit of a conflict. So the CEO and the CFO were talking together in their break room. And it happened to be the CFO's birthday the following day. And the two of them were talking about just, basic chitter chatter, nothing too specific. But the CEO at one point turns to the CFO and says, "Oh my gosh, tomorrow is such a big day." And the CFO is thinking, "Oh yes, he remembered my birthday. It's my birthday tomorrow. I'm so excited. I'm so important to him. That's awesome that he remembered my birthday." And the CEO says, "Yeah, it's a really big, important day because we have this customer meeting with this client who is signing a $2 million contract." And in that moment, the CFO was she didn't actually show maybe she showed some shutting down or kind of withdrawing, but she just instantly felt kind of like a knife stabbing in her when she realized oh shoot, yeah, I have to remember that I'm not really that important and my birthday's not really that important. This is the message she was telling herself. And so she says then to the CEO, Oh, yeah, that's really amazing. It's also my birthday tomorrow. And the CEO was like, "Oh, yeah, you're right. Like, oh, that's actually an even more important day." But at that point, the damage had been done. And so the CFO kind of went on and just avoided the CEO for the entire week. And the CEO like thought maybe that that could have been the reason why she was upset at him, but didn't really understand because she didn't communicate anything to him. So he avoided her as well the entire week. And every single day just became more and more difficult for both people. They were avoiding each other, they wouldn't talk to each other, they wouldn't look at each other. Some important topics came up, they couldn't discuss it together because everybody was kind of so closed off. And then some of the other team members, the board directors, they were also noticing what was going on. And so a lot of the other board directors were talking to the CFO, but weren't really comfortable talking with the CEO about it. So it was kind of like brewing, the entire week. And then of course they decided, who are you going to call? Dr. Lola.
Well, they were doing the process already, the training, so they already know the language, so that really helped a lot. But it was hard for them to still do the process themselves. So yes, they
So
did call
they
us.
So they call Dr. Lola, and the thing is, you can learn this process and apply it, but sometimes we still get stuck. It's very common to still be in a conflict or a dilemma or a fight or difficult conversations and not know how to navigate through them. So, sure enough, they called us and we were able to do a session with them. It was really interesting because typically with these situations, if you do not have a securely attached relationship in the workplace, then you become more sensitive to these triggers. And when you have more sensitivity to the triggers, then you get easily frustrated and upset. So what we saw and Dr. Lowe is going to go a little bit more in depth in what that looks like, but what we saw was some other issues that occurred between the CFO and the CEO that weren't actually ever talked about that came up in this conversation. So it created more safety between them after we did the process with them and had this intense session. And it was really interesting. It wasn't just having to deal with this one issue, even though, that's what we came to help them with, but it like also healed so many more issues that they had before that. So
Yes,
tell us.
I also want to add that we did a full day training with not only with the CEO and the CFO, but also with the team, the entire team, because we talked about the importance of understanding that when people start to behave kind of out of their norm, like weird, there's something going on. There is a disconnection going on. What the team felt that when the CEO and the CFO became disconnected, each one of them started to act weird. And the CEO, for example, started to become more aggressive toward the team members. He was missing the bids for connection that they were trying to make. He was also giving them direction instead of going to the CFO. So everything, and the CFO also became, short with the CEO, just try to ignore and just walk by and not to respond. So both of them started to act weird. And when people do act weird, we recognize that they're both disconnected. Something has happened in their communication that triggered them and created this disconnection. So if we go back and rewind the tape, so to speak, we want to recognize that attachment science teaches us that we seek connection with people we depend on. And as you were sharing, Polina, the CFO felt hurt. The CFO felt hurt thinking to herself that, oh, tomorrow is my birthday. So she longs for that felt sense connection with the CEO, feeling not just to be viewed as the professional, but to be viewed as a valued person, as a human being who is so important to the CEO. Even if it's in professional relationship, we still want to feel important to that person. So that need for connection helps us to feel safe and secure in the relationship. So when she heard, oh, it's the customer, it's that contract is so much more important than I am, that really hurt her. And in a disconnection, what we also find is that during the disconnection, not only there's a distress in the relationship, but there's all kinds of fears that come up. And so what we learn is that when people start to behave weird in the negative cycle, so to speak, they start to confirm each other's worst fears. So for example, when the CEO said, oh, it's the customer, or the customer is coming and we having this important contract, it activated the fear for the CFO. Oh, I'm not valued. Right? Oh, he doesn't remember my birthday. And when the CFO started to avoid the CEO's fear got activated. Oh, I'm all alone. I'm doing it all by myself. Oh, maybe my fear is I got this wrong. So as they continued to behave and avoid each other, they started to increase that fear of their own self view of how they view themselves. So rejection by our boss and by our people that we work with, it really triggers our own worst fears in ourselves. So that's very, very important. And emotional connection helps us to calm our nervous system down, creates balance in ourselves. So when we did the session and they were able to actually share each other's triggers and their worst fears and emotions, it created this moment of repair, which helped them to feel safe with each other and relief from that fear. So the CEO was able to say, you are very important. You are valued. You matter to me. It makes sense that it was very difficult for you when you didn't see that I was thinking about your birthday instead of I was thinking about the contract. And so in that moment, the CFO felt, again, balanced and connected and relieved and secure and safe. And the CEO needed to know that he didn't do anything wrong, because in that moment, he felt like, oh my gosh, I blew it, right? I blew it with my CFO. I made the wrong thing. Oh, shoot, I forgot it was her birthday. And so he needed to know that he didn't do anything wrong. And the CFO was able to confirm and correct the message. So by them avoiding each other, they created more disconnection and got more hurt. But then when they repaired the connection and were able to share their vulnerability and their fears and needs, they created a stronger bond.
I love it.
And then we had an opportunity to do the rest of the team, right? We invited the rest of the team, and each person was able to say, look, when you gave us direction and acted like angry and did not even say hi, we started to feel like we don't matter to you. We are not valued. And the CEO was able to reassure them and repair that connection. So it was interesting to see how everybody started to feel so much more relaxed after this conversation and felt more valued and important and safe with each other. And that's what we want. We want to feel valued to each other, especially with people we depend on. We want to have that felt sense of connection and to know that we can reach for each other and we can be there for each other. So when that team, I think it was like a 5-hour session, for the whole team. Remember? Yeah, and everybody had a chance to talk and share. And after that, their motivation was increased. They were able to talk about their projects, and it felt like they were back to normal. It was really incredible to see. I was really energized from that conversation.
Actually, I think you called me after you spoke with the CEO after the session. You had like a private meeting with the CEO, and then you called me and you were like, I was just so amazing. The CEO was like back to normal and himself and so happy and, relieved and, excited about all the new things coming and such and such. So,
Yeah, exactly. This is what I saw. Before we had the session, the CEO called me and he looked very disturbed. And he
mm,
his voice, his facial expression, his eyes had all this sadness and fear. But
yeah.
after that, it was amazing to see how much he changed just for that. And I think this is what it is important that the when we do the session, when people learn this process, it's not like we are the gurus. We know what, that we teach people how to change how they communicate. Because EMC is so collaborative, we really help them to guide more so. And using the EMC reconnection forum, it actually helps us to do that job as well, to help
Hmm.
people, to engage with them, to slow it down. Because I think people go so fast and trying to defend, trying to explain, trying to, jump in. And by slowing it down, recognizing emotions, processing, we just creating these moments of bonding over and over and over again, where people feel heard
Hmm.
and they feel really valued. I think they feel valued and they feel matter, that the CEO was able to be open and responsive and accessible, and the CFO. And when the rest of the team saw that as well, how safe and connected they were, they felt safe to share what was going on for them.
I love it. And this kind of brings us back to what I was saying at the beginning, which is when people act weird and they're out of balance emotionally and they have conflicted with important people at their work or in their personal life in the relationships, but specifically here at work, then it's very difficult to be yourself when you experience that. And it's very difficult for other people to be themselves when they experience that. So, if you see someone at your workplace acting weird, or you feel yourself that you're doing things like out of the ordinary, things that are not where you could feel yourself, then it trickles down into our life, right? And then it becomes very difficult for us to reach for the places where we can have gratitude and feel grateful and feel really enjoy the holidays that are coming up. So, if you're really struggling and you find yourself in that position, we're going to give you some ways that you can kind of turn the wheel around, rewind the tape, slow down in the experience, and really understand what's happening with you. Because separate from having a conversation with a person that you could be conflicted with, or have a dilemma with, or have this difficult hurt feelings towards, you could first and foremost become aware of what's going on with you and then be able to digest and understand what is happening. And then that gives us actually the ability and strength to come back from being weird and doing things that are not like us, come back to our being ourselves, and then turn around and have that conversation that we should be having with the people that we are struggling with. So, Dr. Lola, let's talk about some of the things that people can do.
Well, the first thing is to
I have here.
understand. You have
Where is it? There it is.
the list of raw spots and emotions.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, definitely the list of raw spots
The first thing is to just get the form. Do you
to
guys
get.
have the form? Do you have the materials? Did you do the master class? Do you have the materials from Dr. Lola's EMC master class? I was trying to see if I can pull out the form in the book. Because the first step is to reach for the form. Where you feel like you can't reach for anyone else, I have it here. Look at this. Right next to me,
Yes.
my practice journal.
That's great. That's
And
great.
why is it important to reach for the form?
Well, because it slows you down, right? It focuses you. It really helps you to focus on your experience. What's some of the triggers that you have experienced? And just list all the triggers on the piece of
Yeah, so
paper.
this is what I like about this form is you don't have to take a guess. You could simply go through each of the steps. And if you don't have the form, that's okay. We're going to give you some of the first few questions that you can ask yourself and write down the answers to. Like the very first question is what prompted the disconnection? What was the trigger? Triggers can be words, facial expression, tone of voice, behavior, a decision, action can be someone turning away from you. It could be someone being aggressive, yelling. All these could be triggers.
Right. And I want to say that it's really important to identify a specific trigger that was very significant to you. Like, for example, with the CEO and CFO, the trigger for her was that he did not remember it was her birthday. Is this significant in that moment of attachment meaning? Because that is a very important day for us. It's our birthdays. Another, I remember we have a case in our EMC masterclass called Tom and Brandon. And Tom, the disconnection for him was when he came back from a doctor's appointment and he got angry. The CEO was not even interested to know what happened to him. Why did he get angry? He just called him into the meeting and say, "This is unacceptable," and he wrote him up. So that
Yeah,
was a significant attachment meaning for him. He didn't even care about what happened to me. Why did I get angry? He just wrote me up, right?
yeah.
So we
So
want to really specifically identify the disconnection that was very meaningful to us.
number two is what were your raw spots? So you want to go through and identify what the raw spots are. And sometimes it could be all of them. Sometimes it could be one of them. Sometimes it could be two of them. But being specific on where the raw spot is that got hit, that's very important. And number three is what emotions did you feel in that moment? And remember, we basically learn sad, mad, angry, hurt, basic emotions. But we want to get deeper. We want to understand the three different levels of emotions, the surface, softer, and primary emotions. We start there. So if you are struggling before Thanksgiving and you don't know what to do and you're kind of dreading even going to work tomorrow before Thanksgiving or going to the family because you're holding on to some things that are difficult for you, instead of complaining about it, which is what we typically do, grab yourself a form and get to writing down the important things that makes it easier for you.
Yes, and what I like about, well, in what you're saying is that you starting to regain your own balance so you can be
Yes,
yourself, because we
exactly.
start to get weird when we start to use our protective behaviors, when we complain, when we blame, when we avoid, when we shut down. We don't know how to behave. We act weird.
So weird.
We're not, we're not ourselves. And the other person also acts weird. So we have to recognize when people acting weird, they are disconnected. And they are both suffering. They're both struggling for connection.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it's funny. I'm laughing just because I keep thinking about like that, we were speaking at a ATD conference when we went to Washington and you were like, if a fish is out of water and it's on the floor, it's acting weird, and it's so true. Like that image is so prominent in the forefront of my brain. If a person acts weird, it's like a signal to us, like, oh shoot, something's going on with them. They may not be disconnected with you in particular, but they are disconnected somewhere in the relationships that they have in their
Exactly.
life. Yeah.
Exactly. And we are trying to really be compassionate to each other, right? We want to be compassionate. We want to be understanding. It's
And
hard
have
for us,
empathy.
yeah, and have empathy. It's hard for us to do that when we're out of balance ourselves. So
Definitely.
if we can see that when people act weird, they really are suffering and struggling to connect, and we can have compassion for them in that moment.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for listening. This is the Leader in You podcast brought to you by EMC Leaders. We're here every week teaching you useful tools and tips on how to reconnect with your team and create a thriving environment for the workplace. It's Thanksgiving this Thursday. So we are so grateful for you, all of our listeners, and for those of you who watch us on YouTube, for those of you who watch our shorts on Instagram and TikTok. We appreciate you and are so grateful. Oh, we're continuing to do this every week because we hear from you and we hear that it's really making impact on your lives. And our support and help and guided tools are changing your life. And that's what we're here for. And of course, so grateful for you, Dr. Lola, who also happens to be my wonderful, amazing mother.
Thank you, Paulina. And I'm so happy to be here with you. I want to wish everybody happy Thanksgiving. You are very important to us, and we're here to support you to grow and prosper and really be connected in your relationships. Thank you so much.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. It's a joy to share these podcasts with you. Be sure to check out our previous podcasts and subscribe to join us at our next podcast of The Leader in You, brought to you by EMC Leaders, taking care of the teams you care about. Until then, be well and be focused on your relationships. We'll see you soon.